I just bought the Secretlab Magnus Pro XL gaming desk. Is this desk an in-game masterpiece or is it overhyped? Hello guys, it's Code Roams here today and we're going to be answering that question. I just took a new job where I'm fully remote, so I need a place to work. I've also been wanting to build a gaming setup in my house for a while, so can this serve as a productivity desk and a gaming desk? Okay, so to start things off, my first thoughts on this are this thing is huge. I was aware of the dimensions, but the box is still pretty shocking in person. I would definitely recommend having someone assist you moving this box inside. I did it myself, and it took everything I had to get it through the doorway. The desk will come in two separate boxes, as you can see here, so just make sure you have everything before you start your assembly. So getting into the first box, we have the toolkit, mounting block, cable tray, hinged rear cover with anchors, and the desktop itself. I love how large the cable tray is. It was sort of hard trying to get a feel for how big it was on their website, but as you can see here, there's plenty of room for all your cables, power strips, docks, and anything else you might need to hide back there. Breaking into the much smaller box, you'll find the power cord, both legs, both feet, instruction manual, and they even toss in a few ties for your cables. Unfortunately, I did have one piece arrive broken. It is just the end piece for the channel underneath the desk, and it did ultimately still pop into place and stay there, but it's worth noting. So here's everything laid out and ready to be assembled. Assembly for the Magnus Pro XL is incredibly easy. The legs have corresponding labels to the correct side of the desk, and the cables you plug into are color matching. It literally doesn't get any easier than that. You just plug, drop the legs into place, and tighten the screws. Following that, you'll install the rear hinge anchors, the cable tray, and finally the feet. Flipping the desk over will require a second pair of hands, and I would highly recommend leaving the foam padding on the edge until it's upright just to protect the control pad. Once it's flipped over, you can fasten the rear hinge cover, then plug it in and test out the motors. I used an uplift desk at my previous job, and I find these motors to be just as, if not even quieter. I do feel like it raises and lowers a tad bit slower, but I don't really see this being any kind of issue.
It's pretty sick.
The final piece to the desk is the magnetic cover itself. I opted for the signature black top as it's on theme with my stealth vision for this setup. Plus, I prefer it to the red and yellow accents of the standard cover. However, on this part, I must issue a warning. Get this right the first time. My first go, I got it slightly off center, so I pulled the entire thing off thinking I could just readjust it, and no. It was a massive headache. Just make sure the mat is tucked all the way into the metal trim before you start unrolling, and you should be good. Just treat it as if you have one chance to get it right, because you kind of do. So the accessory I purchased with the desk is the monitor arm. This one is made specifically for this desk because it fastens from the top instead of underneath, which is kind of hard to reach with that cable tray. This makes installing it with the cable canal and rear hinge cover a breeze. Inside you'll find the desk mount, another toolkit, all the hardware, a VESA mounting bracket for your monitor, and the arms themselves. Once you've secured the desk mount, you'll slide the lower arm into the bracket, the upper into the lower, and you're good to go. Then you'll mount the bracket to the back of your monitor. I'm mounting mine to my new Gigabyte M32U, which I will make a separate video on following this one. For this monitor specifically, I would recommend using the spacers that are provided. It might have gone on. I tried to put it on, and I felt like I probably could have forced it, but I think in the future it would have been extremely tough to get off, so I just erred on the side of caution. The arms do feel extremely sturdy, and they move in every direction you could possibly need, including raising, lowering, tilting, and even rotating. So here's everything all set up. Overall, my initial impressions are very good. It feels extremely sturdy, like it's built to last. Everything came well packaged, and the instructions and installation could not have been more simple, and nothing was missing, which is always a plus. The all black looks super sleek, and I'm already glad I chose this route over the wood top. It raises higher and goes lower than I could ever need, so the range is excellent, the motors are quiet, and the touchpad is very responsive. Speaking of the touchpad, the integration into the side of the desktop is a great design. Moving around the back, the monitor arm was definitely a great decision. The additional cable management it provides makes it worth it alone, not to mention the space it saves on your desk. Inside the cable tray, you'll find an outlet where you can plug a power strip into, and then you just plug all your devices into the power strip so everything stays hidden. All you'll have running out the bottom of the desk is a single power cable that is super easy to hide. It is worth noting that it's running out the bottom of the left leg, and there's not an option to order it coming out of the other leg. If your desk is up against a wall like mine, this is probably not going to be an issue, as you'll likely have an outlet somewhere in that area. But if your desk is in the middle of the room or facing an entrance or something like that, that could potentially be an issue for you. The rear hinge opens and closes relatively easy, and the magnetic top looks and feels super premium. So far, I have not noticed any scuffs or marks or anything like that after some regular use. I think another mat on top could be optional, but by no means necessary. It's worth noting that at the time of installation, I was noticing some lift on the perimeters of the mat, specifically the front left. It was slightly raised up as if it wasn't magnetic in that area or something. It really bothered me at first, but I found over a couple days that spot flattened out and it's barely noticeable anymore. I really only have two negatives that I could find throughout this entire experience. One being the piece I mentioned earlier that was broken. However, it ultimately did fit into place. And the second imperfection I found is on the cable tray, which appeared to be kind of warped or bent toward the middle. You can't see it the way I have my desk set up against the wall, and it wouldn't really affect anything anyway. But again, if your desk is not facing a wall, maybe it's facing the entrance, this might be an issue. Overall, I'm extremely happy with my decision so far. The standing feature is great. Having the ability to continue working even when you get tired of sitting is priceless. And the transitions from one to the other is totally seamless. I also think the stealth setup is looking killer. That's it for today. Huge thanks if you made it this far. Drop a comment if you like the desk and tell me what you're using for your setup or maybe what you're looking at getting next. Stay tuned for the rest of this series as I take you through my entire setup. Till next time.